Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumu, and it's always great to be on the show. Now, this is August 2022. If you set some targets for yourself at the beginning of the year, tick, tock, tick, tock. Get cracking, especially those books that you listed that you'll be reading in the year. Get cracking on them. Now, there are some young people who remind us that Nigeria can be a great country, potentially a great country, despite all the sad news, all the depressing news that we hear now and then. Young people in Nigeria remind us of the energy, the creativity, the vision that can propel this country to great heights. And one of them joined us at the studio very recently. Her name is Ijeoma Benita Nwogo. Ijeoma has been a guest with us in the past. The first time she was here, she was so young and so small. And we've had her on the show actually twice before the last time. And it has been a pleasure being a part of her life. Her passion, her talent for literature, all things literature, and just oozes out. I mean, she's just so talented. And Ijeoma was with us to discuss her most recent books. Let's get to meet with her once again and then enjoy the conversation we had together.
Ijeoma Benita Nwogo is a 17-year-old author. She recently completed her secondary school education at Dominican College, Mafoluku, Lagos. Ijeoma, who is a science student, is in course to studying medicine and psychiatry at the university level. She wrote her first book titled The Lost Girl at age 5 and had it published when she was 8. Ijeoma had her second book, Adventures of Emily, published when she was 12. She joins Channel's Book Club to discuss her recently published books, Dear Diary, Notes from My Heart, and A Twindle in Kismet.
Ijeoma, nice to have you on Channel's Book Club.
Thank you for having me.
Once again.
Yes.
The first time you were on Channel's Book Club was, you were 9?
Yes, 9.
And you had written a book at the age of 5, which you published when you were 9.
Yes, 8.
What?
8, which I published when I was 8.
When you were 8?
Yes.
But you were on the show at 9,
yes.
when you were 9?
Yes.
Then you came back on the show when you were 12.
Yes.
And then you are here now, you are 17. We both looked different the last time.
Yes.
And I didn't have all this, and we were still a bit smaller. Great. So you have an exceptional story. I mean, writing your first book when you were 5, and then you've been consistent until now. That is clearly a passion of yours. Tell me how that is going for you.
Well, it has been a bit of rocky. It's not my main passion. Well, it's one of my passions because I have a lot of interest in different things. And it has been more of something to relieve me from stress from the other things I have interest in. Yes, so it's like a comfort passion for me.
Yeah, let me sneak peek. What's your main passion?
Psychiatry.
Psychiatry?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that some other time. That's interesting. Well, maybe that explains why some of the stories in your new book, Dear Diary, I see a lot of, for example, there's a story there, murder mystery.
Yes.
Right? So there's a lot of psychiatry I see in that story. So I don't know if you'll be upset with me if I let viewers, get to know what that story is about. But I mean, so there's this series of murders, and this girl Lucy is writing in her diary. Yeah, tracking the story, and then at the end, it's one big surprise based on psychiatry.
Yes. Okay,
that's good. So you are clearly a child prodigy to have written a book at 5, to written another one when you were, I don't know when you wrote your second book, but you were on the show when you were 12.
Yes.
When did you write that second book?
I started writing when I was 10.
When you were 10?
Yes, I started writing that particular one when I was 10, but I was given a break, so I didn't complete it until I was 12.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are a lot of young people out there who I'm sure will find your story inspiring, even much older people who have told themselves for the last 30 years that they will write a book. but never got to writing the book. You know, tell me about your writing. How has it evolved over time? How have you fed that passion?
Okay, for example, I said I started writing when I was 5. I am someone who likes things that deal with the outside world, adventures, exploring. And as a child, I found that very fascinating, and I always liked to write about it. And when I was younger, my whole perspective of writing was mainly about things on adventure. And then growing up, my mind became more diverse and I started looking at other areas. And I'm someone who loves horror, crime, and mystery. So you can see that in most of my books here that there's a lot of things dealing with unraveling of different mysteries and crime because it's more interesting to me. So I write mostly on what I feel comfortable with and what I already know, what I'm used to. And even though I try to write about new things, I actually have to research on them first and know what they're about because it's not something I'm familiar with. But for now, I'm strictly writing about things I know and things I'm familiar with.
When you were much younger, your first book, The Lost
Girl.
Yes. How did I remember that? Goodness me. Okay, so your first book, The Lost Girl, was more of a I mean, just a classical small young girl story and all that. Now I'm reading you're going to tell us about your 3 new books which you just published now, but again, reading Dear Diary, I can see that as your worldview as a writer, as a person, evolved as you grew. I can see that difference in your writing. It's a lot more mature, if I may use that word. It's also a lot more realistic, more at times gory, at times, you know, I mean, the real issues of life. I see them being addressed in your book. You've experienced that, right, in your writing?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about your 3 new books, which you just published. Now, I'm surprised that you've written one on poetry, Notes from My Heart, one on drama, A Twiddle in Kismet, and one, a collection of short stories, Dear Diary, a series of untold stories. That means your writing is diverse. Tell me about that.
As you said, I try to make my writing diverse because I'm someone who really enjoys poetry. I'm always being called upon to recite poems, different occasions, and I find this interesting, even though I didn't see it as somewhere I would find myself. But it's something that I used to let out anger, emotions, and I just see myself writing poems. Then drama, I'm a very dramatic person.
Yeah, I like that.
I like watching films. I like the way everything goes, the organization, the dialogues, and it just makes everything very interesting. So I said, why don't I give it a try? And with my little knowledge on script writing, I just put everything together to bring about, or to write the drama, and then putting in some issues that people wouldn't feel it's necessary to talk about, and then that's how the drama came about. And then the collection of short stories, Dear Diary, it was something that had started while I was still in SS3. Anytime I have, because I'm someone that likes imagining things, I could sit at a place and then you would think I'm sleeping or just there, but I'm in my mind imagining different scenarios.
Going to the
yes, imagining how things can happen if this didn't happen or if this happened. And then sometimes when I have nightmares, even though as a Nigerian I wake up, I pray about it that it shouldn't happen, but I don't let it slide. I put it into writing too, and then try to make it more real. And then things that are going on around me, I just don't let it slide. I carry everything and hold them and try to see if I can turn them into something that people would enjoy reading, because it's not all about the entertainment sometimes. Sometimes people learn from the things I write and they'll be like, wow, so this happens, and things like that.
Can you tell us about the 3 books? Dear Diary, A Twiddle in Kismet, which is drama, and Notes from My Heart.
Notes from My Heart, it's basically a poetry book about different topics, different poems, different emotions. It's a poetry book. It has everything concerning poetry. The stanzas, the pattern, the structure, everything is there. The drama book is about a girl who was unfortunate but had to make use of how destiny or how fate treated her to make it into something good. And then the collection of short stories is a collection of short stories. Yes, different short stories.
I really enjoyed this Dear Diary. So which one resonates more with you as a writer? Poetry, drama, prose?
I would say poetry and prose.
Poetry and prose.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to do one of the poems here very soon. Okay, but but before then, I'm very intrigued by. I try to study generations. You know what's going on with this generation, my generation, generations before mine, those after. You know, so a lot of people think that when you are in your teens and your generation, many of you don't enjoy literature, you don't enjoy reading, writing. That's another level entirely. Is that true, or is it misunderstood?
Not really misunderstood, but you're partly right. Most teens nowadays don't really find interest in sitting down, picking up a book and reading, but there are still a great percentage of teens that read a lot. Like, we have online platforms, even though they don't physically read them, but they have them online and they go through them. A lot of them do. But most of the teens now are more into films. People prefer watching films. But if they know that, okay, this is put into reading, into a book rather, they might read it. But some people just have a problem with sitting down and reading. Personal differences. But yes, people my age group tend to read books till today. So
I'm guessing that you are probably an exception. I mean, a teen who writes, who's written a few books.
Yes.
And all that. Now, where are you going with this writing? There's a consistency, clearly. You've been writing since age 5. You are 17. You're still writing. So where are you going with your writing?
I plan on continuing my writing, and with my other passions, I plan on using it as a backup to tell people more about my other passions, because my writing will be more of psychological from now on.
Psychological thrillers?
Yes.
I love psychological thrillers a lot.
Me too. Okay. From now on, and I would use my writing abilities to explain some disorders, some theories, some stereotypes, and things related to that. And then I'm also trying to start writing on history, because I'm a fan of geography and history. So I'll try to see how that goes, and if that goes well, I add it to my psychology and psychiatry.
You are going to the university very soon.
Yes.
I'm aware of that. What are you going to study? Is it psychiatry?
Medicine first, then psychiatry.
Medicine, then psychiatry.
Yes.
I fear you. The combo is... Congratulations on that, and I wish you all the best. Before you leave, do us a short poem from your book, Notes from My Heart, before we round up. Can you do that for us?
Yes, I can.
Which one comes to mind?
As busy as Lagos.
As busy as Lagos. You need your copy, or it's right there?
It's there, but since I haven't rehearsed.
Okay, here you go.
Yes.
Okay. As busy as Lagos.
Yes.
Sounds interesting.
Okay.
As busy as Lagos.
Can I start?
Yes.
Okay. As busy as Lagos. Remember the popular comparison, as busy as it be. But there's a better comparison, as busy as Lagos. A place where hustling is the new relaxation. A place where noise is the new song. A place where normalcy is overrated. A place where time is no one's friend. Everyone is always busy because life here doesn't come easy. But everyone doesn't get to have the same type of busy. Just pray you don't get caught up in the wrong type of busy. Some are busy wasting their times. Some are busy committing crimes. Some are busy working out their eyes, but many are busy running for their lives. People here are busier than bees in their own hives.
Excellent. Brilliant, brilliant, inspiring. Thank you very much, Ijeoma. Unfortunately, we don't have time. I would have loved to continue this conversation with you. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you, maybe when you write the next one, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us on Channels Book Club.
Thank you.
The biggest literary prize in Africa is the Nigeria Prize for Literature, sponsored by NLNG. $100,000. That's the big prize the winner takes home. And this year, 11 entries have been long listed. Out of the 11, 3 will be shortlisted, and then 1 will be the eventual winner of the very prestigious Nigeria Prize for Literature. The 11 long-listed authors were hosted at the annual book party event organized by Cora in conjunction with NLNG. And we were there. Enjoy this.
A dance troupe welcomed art enthusiasts and other dignitaries from various walks of life to the 13th Nigeria Prize for Literature Book Party, organized by the Committee of Relevant Arts and the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited. The book party was organized to celebrate writers longlisted for the 2022 edition of the Nigeria Prize for Literature, sponsored by NLNG. The Nigeria Prize for Literature was inaugurated in 2004 to discover writing talents and promote outstanding literary works in Nigeria. The $100,000 prize money makes the prize the biggest in Africa. This year's competition is open to poets, and over 300 applications were received. However, only 11 authors made the long list. The long list includes Augustus Poodle by Ogaga Ifowodo, Coming Undone, A Stitches Titan by Ikwa Diana Abasi, Dispossessed by James Eze, A Fair Testament by Segun Adekoya. Others are Memory and the Call of Water by Soidi Vershima Agema, Nomad by Romeo Ariogun, The Lilt of the Rebel by Obari Gomba, The Love Canticles by Chijioke Amunadi, Wanderer Cantos by Remy Raji, Yawns and Belches by Joe Ushi, and Your Crib, My Kibla by Sadiq Zukogi. The General Manager External Relations and Sustainable Development NLNG Limited, Andy Ode, applauded the authors that made the long list.
First, I'd like to congratulate the 11 authors whose works have made in this keenly contested race for the most prestigious prize for literature in Africa. This level of excitement they are creating and generating for us. I'll say to them, whatever anybody says, whatever happens after today or by the end of the year or precisely in October, you have distinguished yourselves.
The selected authors read from their collection of poems at the hybrid book party.
When no drums can be heard, but the dancer exhibits her finest moves in the village square, who will urge her to stop? When dogs howl and bark, though neither children nor harm are found on the street, who will throw stones to caution the whelping animals?
These sweet-tongued augurs plant and water here a wide species of weird crops. Blindness of the majority, hunger for the honest, idleness of seed-bearing youth, and fratricidal feuds among the tethered.
On a quiet dawn in Baalom, 2 priests and a congregation became lambs slain on St. Ignatius' altar as camouflaged herders marched through town. Elsewhere, memory raises the pain of the transgressions of suspicious herders turning River Benway's waters to rich crimson.
My earth, my love, my earth. Love you is to live. To live is to love you. To leave you is to wither and slowly die. My earth, my love.
The authors also spoke on what inspired their writings.
At the moment when I decided to do this collection, I decided to select poems that were not political. I wanted to do a collection of poetry that has nothing to do with politics. So that was my first effort. But towards the end of the collection, I started becoming angry about a number of things.
For me, poetry was my first act of expression, expressing myself creatively. And later on, I found that poetry gave me the ability to be both spontaneous and be circumspect, and to also go for language in figures, which is a language that lingers most, that tends to endure.
I constantly engage in dialogue with my land, because I believe, as I put it in one of my poems, that the poet's first duty is to make love to language, to land, and to liberty.
I am often inspired by, the swirl of emotions around me.
The chairman, Kora Board of Trustees, Kayode Aderyokun, spoke on the long list.
For you to be selected as the final 11, it shows that there must be some quality and value in what you have written. It could be in terms of style, language, flavor, lyrics, and even content. It could be that.
The Nigeria Prize for Literature is one arm of the several corporate social responsibility initiatives of the NLNG. Apart from the Nigeria Prize for Literature, other prizes include the Nigeria Prize for Science and the Nigeria Prize for Literary Criticism. With these prizes, the NLNG continues to promote intellectual and educational development in Nigeria.
We look forward to the eventual winner of the big prize. That will be announced very soon. To round up the show today, here is a tribute to the great B. Bandele, the filmmaker, playwright, and novelist who passed away not so long ago. When the news came out, some of us were absolutely heartbroken. This is a big, big loss to Nigeria and the art world generally. Big loss. He was so talented. He was so full of life, and he contributed so much to the areas where he functioned. Here's a tribute to B. Bandele.
On Sunday, the 8th of August, an art icon passed away. Nigerian-born B. Bandele was a prolific novelist, poet, playwright, and filmmaker whose works inspired and had profound impact on people around the world. His writing encompassed fiction, theater, journalism, television, film, and radio. He won his first literary prize at 14. In 1989, he won the International Student Play Script Competition with an unpublished play, Rain. Afterwards, Bandele proceeded to claim the 1990 British Council Lagos Award for a collection of poems. His acclaimed literary works include The Streets, Burma Boy, and The Sympathetic Undertaker. He also recently concluded Yoruba Boy Running and submitted it for publishing. In a 2014 CNN interview, Bandele said, "I knew I wanted to be a writer from when I was 6. My dad took me to the local library and I just fell in love with the books." Apart from writing, filmmaking would become dear to Bandele as a channel for expressing his creative talent. He directed successful productions including the movie 50, the Netflix series Blood Sisters, a Fela Kuti documentary, and movie adaptations of literary works by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and Wole Soyinka. Bandele grew in the small town of Kafanchan in northwestern Kaduna State. He studied drama at University of Ife before moving to the United Kingdom when he was 22. He died at the age of 54.
may his soul rest in perfect peace. We certainly will miss Biyi Bandele a lot. Now, this is where we have to end the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.